So, life of Galileo, who has written it, Bertolt Brecht, in the year of 1939. Right. So, it is a play written by Bertolt Brecht in 1930. And the play tells the story of the famous Italian what? Scientist, whose name is called as Galileo Galilei. Right. Galileo Galilei. So, the play shows how Galileo's, Galileo's new ideas about the universe, right? New ideas about the universe clashed. Clashed means what? Come with a conflict, right? So clashed with the what? Power of the Catholic Church, right? It also asks an important question. What is that? What is the duty of a scientist? Right? To speak the truth no matter the cost they suffer, or to protect his own life or own life, right or not? So that is the true thing. Whether what is the job of or duty of a scientist to speak the truth, or you talk about means, to protect his own life, right or not? So Brecht, Bertolt Brecht does not show Galileo as a perfect hero. So instead, Bertolt Brecht so is shown as means clever, curious, and brave, but also weak, fearful, and fond of comfort. Right. So this makes the play very human and realistic. Right. One side you are telling about that what clever, curious, and brave. The other side also you are saying weak, fearful, and fond of comfort. Right. So if you see that the play begins, how did the play begin? The story starts in a Padua. What is that? Right. It is in Italy. Uh, so you can say that Galileo is a middle-aged, poor, and works as a teacher. He loves science and he believes the people should use reason and observation instead of blindly following tradition. Right? So he teaches a boy whose name is called as Andrea, right? Who becomes his loyal student. Galileo explains to Andrea that the earth moves around the sun, right? And this idea called the Copernican system. This idea is known as a Copernican system, right? So, so Copernican system, it was very dangerous at that time. Why? Because the church, which church? Catholic Church, thought that the earth was the center of the universe. Right. But Galileo taught what? Means Copernican system. So Galileo hears about a new invention from Holland, the telescope. So he builds his own version and uses it to look at the sky. So you find out that the telescope was created. He created his new invention, new version. And what did he do? He used it to look at the sky. And he discovers what? Amazing things. What are the things he discovers? Understand the point. The moon has mountains and valleys. The moon has mountains and valleys. It doesn't have a surface, which are moon. Second, also the discover is called as Jupiter has moons. Jupiter has moons that move around it. Right? Third is called as there are countless stars in the Milky Way. Isn't it? These are the three things that you would find out, and these discoveries prove that the old belief, prove that the old belief. What is that? The old belief is known as a Ptolemaic system, right? One is called as a Copernican system, the other one is called as a Ptolemaic system. So, and Ptolemaic system is what? Now, where Earth is at the center, and that is wrong. That is wrong. So here you find out that what he builds his own version. He uses it to look at the tower, the sky. He discovers amazing things. He finds out that the moon has a mountain and valleys, not a smooth surface. Second, Jupiter has moons that move around it. Third is called that there are countless stars in the Milky Way, right? And these discoveries prove that the old belief. What is that old belief? The old belief is called as the Ptolemaic system, right? So, and what is that Ptolemaic system? Where the Earth is at the center, right? So, and that is wrong. Galileo is excited, but he soon, you can say that, learns that. He soon learns that what? Many people, especially the church, do not want to hear the truth. Got my point? So, in that case, if you look at the path, so this is nothing but the idea which you find out. One is called as a Ptolemaic system, the other one which we find out. So Ptolemaic system is indicating about the Earth is center at the stage, right? So in the early struggles, what do we find out? Galileo tries to gain what? Gain money and fame by showing what? Showing it with telescope to the rulers of Venice. Right? Because he created his new version of telescope, and through that telescope he draw that Ptolemaic system. So the leaders are impressed. The leaders of the Venice are impressed. But instead of paying in, they steal the idea. They steal the idea and make telescopes themselves. Right or no? Galileo is disappointed, right? But he doesn't stop his research. So he moves to Florence. He was in Venice. Leaders were taking his, leaders were stealing his ideas. Then he got disappointed. He moves to Florence, where he walks under the powerful Medici family, right? So he hopes that he walks under the powerful Medici family. He hopes that with their protection, Medici family's protection, he can continue his studies. Isn't it? How did he continue his study? Freely or free of cost. So, but soon his discoveries create trouble. Right? The church leaders feel threatened. The church leaders feel threatened. If the means why? Because if church leaders draw on the basis of the blind belief, and Socrates drawn on the basis of the science, region, right? So, if the earth is not the center of the universe, then people may start questioning everything the church teaches. Because the church teaches something and Galileo discovered something, right? So, for them, Galileo's science is not just about planets, right? It is about power. It is about power. So, that is why in 1616, what happened? The church officially warns whom? Galileo, right? Not to teach that the earth moves around the sun. So he is told to stop, right? He is told to stop. Now, if you look at that, Galileo as a person, right? So you find out that Galileo is shown as both brilliant, at the same time weak. Paradox. Brilliant and weak. How? He is passionate about science, but he also loves food. right? Comfort and praise, isn't it? So he wants to be admired. So he also has a daughter. What is his daughter name? Virginia, right? So Virginia is also very religious. She suffered because of her father's fights with the church, right? The personal cost of Galileo's choice. Now, Galileo, as a father, did not understand his daughter's pain, right? So, not like some scientists who would die for the truth, right? So, Galileo is careful. Galileo is not that kind of a person. He's not a kind of a person who would die for the truth, right? So, but Galileo is careful. So, he fears pain and punishment. So, this is something which is important, and that we find out later in the play, right? So you would find out that now here we find out the hope with a new pope. What is that? When a new pope, when a new pope, Urban 8. So what is that? Urban 8. So takes the power. Urban 8 takes the power. Galileo feels hopeful, right? So at first, we found out that he felt very hopeful. The Pope seems friendly to science, and Galileo decides to publish his book, right? So publishing is a big book. So, and what is that name of the book? Dialogue concerning the two chief world systems. The dialogue concerning the two chief world systems, right? So the book explains both the word of old system, right? We know that old system, Ptolemaic system, right? Both the old system and the new system. What is that? Called as the Copernican system, right? But it also makes fun of those who believe in the old one, right? So it means you write a book, you mention about two systems, but you criticize people who believe on the old system, right? It means you invite danger, right? So the Pope feels mocked, the Pope feels what? Criticized and becomes angry. Now you invite danger or enemy. So Galileo is called for the investigation, inquiry, inquisition. So the powerful court of the church, right? So he was invited, he was threatened, he was threatened with the torture if he does not deny his ideas, the ideas about old words, polemic or Ptolemaic system, right? Galileo's recantation. Now here, this is the turning point of the Galileo. So this is the turning point in this play. How? Now faced with the fear, Galileo chooses to recant. Recant means what? Publicly says that he was wrong. Like I told you, no, not like all the scientists. Galileo was die. Galileo would die for the truth. No, he was the kind of a person who is weak, fear, and live in comfort, rage. So Galileo chooses to recant. It means he publicly said that he was wrong and that the earth does not move. Right? By doing this, what he tries to do, he sets his life. Right? He sets his life, but he loses what? Respect, isn't it? So his students, especially Andrea, feel shocked and betrayed. How come? Means what he taught to me is wrong. Right? So they thought Galileo would stand firm for truth. They all believe that what Galileo would stand for the truth. But instead, what happens? He gave in to fear. Right or not? So the church keeps him under house arrest. He was silenced and forbidden from teaching or publishing free, isn't it? So that's what you would find out in this book. So, but what happened life after the recantation? When you say that, even after giving up publicly, now did Galileo say, did Galileo get comfort? Did Galileo get praise? No. So even after giving up publicly, Galileo continues to write in secret. Right. He works on discourses on two new sciences, a book that later becomes very important for modern physics. Right. He cannot publish it himself. Why? Now, because he was in jail. He was in house arrest. But with the Andrea's help, the manuscript is, the manuscript, in its original written book, is smuggled. Right? Smuggled out of the out to other countries, isn't it? So Andrea, though at first angry with the Galileo, and but later realizes that work is still valuable. He agrees to carry the book abroad and make sure that Galileo's ideas will live on. Right? Got my point? So, all total, if I talk about that, the main themes of this play is what? Truth versus power. Isn't it? So, and here you could find out truth is weekend, truth is hidden, truth is sarcasm, truth is, illusion. Right? So, how do you say that? Because the play shows the fight between new knowledge and old authority. New knowledge and old authority. New, uh, new knowledge and old authority. Galileo's discoveries proved that what Church was wrong. Right. And Church was wrong means he was contrasting to the first old book. Right. But the church fears losing control because its truth is coming out. So therefore, how did the church means control it by its power? Right? So the church fears losing control, and therefore it shows how hard it is for truth to win when power feels threatened. Right or not? So it's something called as a truth is something hard, and that cannot be shared or that cannot be existed before power. Right. So and that power cannot be existed before. Power feels threatened here, isn't it? So that's indicating about truth versus power. Second, it's called as the role of the scientist. If you see that, Bertolt Brecht, the writer, asked, what should scientists do with their knowledge? Right? Should they risk everything for the truth? Right? Or is it enough to survive and work secretly or work quietly? So Galileo's choice to recant, or even if he discovers truth but tells lie before the public, arises this moral question. Doesn't he have that ability to die for it? Right? Doesn't he have that authority to take the risk, everything for the truth? So, then, but he chooses what? To write secret. So, third is called the fear and weakness. If I see that Galileo is not shown as a perfect hero. Why? Now, he feared stature and chooses life. Therefore, how would you consider Galileo is a perfect hero? Right? So Bertolt Brecht makes us ask, is he a coward or a simply human? That's the answer we need to give, isn't it? Then four is called the freedom of thought. If I say the play shows what the danger of blind obedience. Blind obedience means you agree blindly to others without any reason. So, but real progress happens only when people think freely and question authority. Right. Then last one you can say science and society. If I say science and society, we draw that Galileo believed his discoveries with three people. Right. So, but the play reminds us that science can also be controlled. Right. You make or you discover science to make free people, but you also find out that the science can also be controlled. Science can also be silenced. Science can be thrown also by using the power those people are. Right or not? So, therefore, now you must have known that many of the crimes that uh, that do not even come to the scene. Right. So, in finally, if you say that at the end, Andrea visits Galileo in house arrest. At first, he feels betrayed, right? But when Galileo secretly gives him the manuscript of his final book, Andrea realizes that his teacher had still contributed greatly. Right. He takes the book abroad, giving hope that science and truth will continue to spread. The play closes with a question that should we admire Galileo for his great discoveries? So, or should we blame him for his cowardice? Cowardice, you understand? Coward. Cowardice is not standing up to the charge. So, Bertolt Brecht gives the answer, right? Let the answer open for the readers, isn't it? So, if I say life of Galileo, it's not just about one scientist. So, it is about the larger struggle between knowledge and power, right? So, truth and fear, and progress and tradition. So, Galileo changed the way humans saw the universe. So, but he also showed weakness, isn't it? So, Bartle Brecht's message is clear that what science is a powerful, uh, but it must serve humanity, right? So, at the same time, scientists must be brave. Scientists must take responsibility, right? Why? Now, for how their discoveries affect the world, right? On in simple words, you can say that the play teaches us the truth. Truth is precious. Truth is precious, but it is also fragile. Fragile means wicked, right? So it needs courage, it needs honesty, it needs sacrifice to survive, right? So Galileo gave the world a great knowledge, but Galileo's story reminds us that fear can silence the dark. Fear can silence even the greatest minds. Even the greatest minds unable to tell the truth because of the fear. Isn't it?